There, this is Andrew bringing you another Keyforge deck reveal and review. This one is Calvino, the Raider of Darkburg. It's a Worlds Collide deck with Brobnar, Logos, and Shadows. Why am I not taking it out of the box right now? Well, I won this at Chainbound this week, and just wanted to open it up and take a peek before I walked away from those folks I'd been playing with. So that's why I don't really remember what's in it, but I did want to take a look while I was there. So, yeah, Brobnar getting a lot of hate. But, you know, good things can happen. Logos is always exciting, especially in Worlds Collide. And Shadows, we'll see. Alright, so let's get into it. We get an Alaka. That's a 4-power giant that says, if you have used a creature to fight this turn, Alaka enters play ready. This is great. This is an example of, I think one of the things that Worlds Collide Brobnar tends to struggle with is actually getting to do much, and so creatures like Alaka that can come in and do work right away are helpful with that problem. We have Cowfine, 5-power giant with before fight, deal 2 damage to each neighbor if the creature Cowfine fights. This is nice. Also, more efficient because you're able to deal damage to 3 creatures when it fights, so if you can get it to fight, you're great. Gainer Chieftain is going to help with that. It's a 5-power giant that says you may, on play, you may ready and fight with a neighboring creature. And we have 2 of those. So already I'm pretty happy. This is a Brobnar that can do stuff, right? On the turn you play the cards, they can maybe do stuff. By the way, that's why I really like Brobnar with Star Alliance in Worlds Collide, because you can end up using your Brobnar a lot on your Star Alliance turns, and that tends to be advantageous. Alright. Then we have Mog Hunter. This is a 6-power giant that says fight, deal 2 damage to a flank creature. Also really nice. Narp is an 8-power giant with 1 armor whose neighbors can't reap. And again, one of these, I'm always okay with one of these. I end up wanting to fight on my Brobnar turns anyway, so I don't really mind putting Brobnar creatures next to Narp. It itself can reap, people forget that. Stiltkin is a 2-power goblin with skirmish, and after a giant creature is played adjacent to Stiltkin, ready and fight with it. So again, more do stuff right away. And we have all giants in our other creatures, and we have 6 giants so far. So there's a really good chance we fire this. There's an even decent chance that we might get to fire it twice, or even 3 times if you play 4 times, right? If your opening hand is 2 Gainer Chieftains and a Stiltkin, you get to fight 4 times with Stiltkin, if that's what you want. Warrior's Refrain is an action with the bonus amber that stuns each creature with power 3 or lower. Ooh, Fire Breath will be really nice on Stiltkin. It's an upgrade with the bonus amber that gives the creature +3 power, and before fight deal 2 damage to each neighbor of the creature this creature fights. So if you put this on Stiltkin, for example, it turns Stiltkin into basically a Cowfine with skirmish, and that if you play a giant next to it, it fights. So that could be pretty cool. Shattered Throne gives us some amber control in Brobnar. I think this is the other area where Worlds Collide Brobnar struggles a little bit, especially compared to Coda Brobnar, which is pretty good at amber control. But this one gives you some ability to control that amber. It's an artifact with a bonus amber, and after a creature is used to fight, it captures an amber. Then we have the Flex. I'm not thrilled about that. I guess if we ended up with Fire Breath on Narp, then this could be worth 5 amber, but I'm not really looking to burst amber in Brobnar turns. But Flex is an action that says choose a ready friendly Brobnar creature, exhaust it, and gain amber equal to half its power, rounding down the gain. Yeah, that tends to not be what I want to do with my Brobnar creatures. But we have options like if you exhaust even the Mog Hunter, you're going to get 3 amber. So. Cyber Giant Rig is an upgrade with a bonus amber. It gives a creature at the end of your turn. This creature loses a +1 power counter, but when you play it, you fully heal the creature and give it a +1 power counter for each damage healed. So this could actually, if you have a wounded Narp, let's say, if you have a Narp with 6 damage on it, you play Cyber Giant Rig on it, and then you flex it, and you just made yourself 7 amber. So there's potential there. That could be interesting. Alright, let's look at Logos. We have a daughter. That's great. 2-power cyborg scientist with elusive. and during your draw card step, you refill your hand to one additional card. Very nice. Hapsis is going to go well with that Shattered Throne, and maybe we get the Fire Breath on the Hapsis. That would be fantastic. But Hapsis is a 5-power mutant scientist that says after an enemy creature is destroyed fighting Hapsis, that's whether the creature attacked Hapsis or Hapsis attacked the creature, you ward Hapsis and draw a card. 2 of those. Very nice. Ooh, these are also really nice if you leave these on a flank. One of the things I try to do if I'm playing with Ganger Chieftains is leave things I might want to fight on flanks as much as possible so that Ganger Chieftains can hit them. Then we have a Titan Guardian. That's a 5-power beast and cyborg with 1 armor. Taunt and destroyed if Titan Guardian is not on a flank, draw 2 cards. So we have a lot of options here for drawing cards in the middle of a Logos turn, which is fun. I think there are 2 of these. Yeah, 2 Caendle units. Caendle unit is a great Logos card. It's a 5-power robot with 1 armor. And it says after an enemy creature reaps, draw a card. That's amazing. I mean, if this just sits on the board, then you're really happy. I prefer not to use the action capture 1 if I can help it. So it has action capture 1, but I prefer not to do that because I don't really want to incentivize my opponent further to kill the Caendle unit. It's already like really people want to kill the Caendle unit because of this draw ability. But if you have board control, which you can with this Bravnar, then suddenly the Caendle units are drawing you a ton of extra cards, and you're very happy. So kill those big creatures, let your opponent, sit there with little creatures and try to decide if they want to put cards in your hand. Code Monkey is a 3-power AI beast with deploy, and after you play it, you archive each neighboring creature, and if those creatures share a house, gain 2 amber. If I can target like the Ganger Chieftains with this, or maybe even the Alaka, I'm really happy. Yeah. If you have warded creatures, like let's say you have two warded Hapsises, you throw the Code Monkey in between them, they won't even leave the board. So that's an option. Groupthink Tank is a 4-power robot experiment with 3 armor that has action, deal 4 damage to each creature that shares a house with at least one of its neighbors. Playing on Monday night at Chainbound, somebody was asking, does it deal damage to both of the neighbors? In other words, if you have 2 creatures of the same house, do they both take the 4 damage? And yeah, because they each have, a neighbor of the same house, right? So they would both take 4 damage. We have a Jargoggle. That's an interesting one. It's a 2-power beast and mutant with elusive. After you play it, you put a card from your hand face down under it, and when it's destroyed, if it's your turn, you play the card that's under it. Otherwise, you archive the card. Yeah, this is fine. I'm not sure what I want to put under it. Not sure what I want to put under it, but probably just a card that I don't plan on playing and treat it like archives, right? It's usually okay. Then we have an Entropic Swirl. This is an action that says play, choose a creature. For each trait that creature has, deal it 2 damage and gain an amber. This is really nice spot removal, which we don't have a lot of in here, right? The only spot removal we have per se is like the Fire Breath and the Cowfine, but those aren't exactly spot removal. But they kind of get around taunt, right? Entropic Swirl also gets around taunt. It ignores that kind of stuff. Ignores elusive, so that's very nice. And there are 1 or 2 creatures that have 3 traits. Most creatures have 1 or 2 traits, but getting 2 amber and dealing 4 damage to a creature is pretty nice. Then this I remember, we have 2 copies of this. We have 2 copies of Master the Theory. This is a terrible card, and I hate it. And I'm sad that it's in here, because I actually think up until this point this is a pretty good deck. Master the Theory is an action with a bonus amber that says if there are no friendly creatures in play, you may archive a card for each enemy creature. So it gives us an amber pip. That's its like one redeeming quality, but if you have no creatures on the board, first of all, in this deck, you're definitely losing. But usually it's the case that if you have no creatures on the board, you're losing. So I really don't like this. The one exception is maybe if I'm going first and I have this in my... Nope, doesn't work. If you're going first and you have this in your opening hand, you don't get to archive anything because your opponent has no creatures. So yeah, I don't really think there's a... I guess if you're going second and you have this in your opening hand, you can archive a card. It's a lab work, right? That's really your best case scenario. So I don't like it. All right, but at least it has an Amber Pip, so it's okay. And maybe if we're just we're drawing so much here. By the way, we don't have, these are only Amber Pips. Entropic Swirl is probably good for 1 and 2. These are only Amber Pips and logos. So we are drawing a lot of cards, but we are actually going to have to use the board to get Amber so far. 3, 4 in Brobnar. So, by the way, we'll keep an eye on this as we go through Shadows as well, but pretty good luck in terms of the Warrior's Refrain here. It'll hurt it'll stun the Stiltkin, it'll stun Daughter, it'll stun Code Monkey and Jargoggle, but everything else is big enough that it won't get stunned, so that's pretty lucky. Usually I'm sad about Warrior's Refrain, but this time I think it's very nice. Avenda is a 4-power... Avenda is a 4-power elf thief with Reap. Deal 1 damage to a creature. If this damage destroys that creature, your opponent discards a random card from their hand. Again, evades the doesn't get hit by the Warrior's Refrain. That's nice. Bad Penny is well paired with Avenda because you can drop the Bad Penny on the board, Reap with the Avenda, make your opponent discard a card. You probably then want to discard the Bad Penny. We'll see what else we get. I don't remember what else is in here in Shadows, so maybe it's good, but I usually assume not. Hit and Run is an action that deals 2 damage to a creature, and you return a friendly creature to your hand. It's more good spot damage. Hawk. This is a fantastic card. Gain an Amber, destroy an artifact. If you do, gain an Amber. So 2 Amber if you destroy an artifact with it. We don't have any artifacts so far. Oh, we do. We have the Shattered Throne. So, and that's not a maze. So that means if Shattered Throne is the only artifact in play, and you play this, you have to kill the Shattered Throne. So that might be a little iffy. But I think... overall, this is a great card to have. I'm happy to see it. Yeah, good for killing your Golden Spirals, your Transporter Platforms, your other really high-value artifacts. Hugger Mugger is a 3-power elf thief with Elusive and play, capture an Amber. Then, if your opponent has more Forged Keys than you, steal 1. Okay, I hope not to be in a situation where that triggers, where the steal triggers, but it's fine. Mug, gain an Amber, move an Amber from a creature to your pool and deal 2 damage to that creature. This can take the Amber back off of Hugger Mugger, so that's nice. Also, this Hit and Run, they kind of pair well with Avenda because they let you set up those 3-power creatures for getting killed with Avenda and making your opponent discard a card. That's nice. Same with Pestering Blow for 2-power creatures, I guess, or maybe 4 powers if you have it with the other cards. Pestering Blow gains you an Amber, and you deal 1 damage to a creature and enrage it. Of course, enrage means that the next time that creature is used, it has to fight if able. We got Ronnie Wrist Clocks. Nice with the Hit and Run if we can have that happen together. I usually don't depend on that. But it's a 2-power elf thief with play, steal 1 Amber, and if your opponent has 7 or more, steal 2 instead. Okay. We have a Trust No One. Play, steal 1. If there are no friendly creatures in play, same as the Master Theory here, but this is actually a good card. If there are no friendly creatures in play, instead steal 1 Amber for each house represented among enemy creatures to a maximum of 3. Important note, if you and your opponent each have 0 creatures, then this steals 0 because the instead effect happens and there are no house that's represented among enemy creatures, so you would steal 0. But as long as your opponent has a creature, it'll always go off. It'll always steal at least 1. Probably with this board, it'll just steal 1 because, or with this deck, because we're going to have enough. We're almost always going to have creatures on the board here, so probably just good for steal 1, but that's fine. Then we have Umbra. It's a 2-power elf thief with Skirmish and fight, steal 1. This would be also very, very nice to get the Fire Breath on. Of course, I wouldn't depend on that, but it would be very nice. I mean, imagine a turn where you drop this on the board, and the next turn you put Fire Breath on it and drop a Ganger Chieftain next to it. I would be so happy. Fidget is a 2-power fairy thief with Elusive And Reap, discard a random card from your opponent's archives or the top card of their deck. If that card is an action, play it as if it were yours. Not as good as Merkins, but really fun. I love this type of like play your opponent's cards shenanigans. I think it's really fun. So glad to see that. I am noticing, by the way, in Shadows we have a lot more stuff that's going to get hit by the Warrior's Refrain. So that's okay though. We're pretty solid in the Logos and Brobnar. And then we have a Too Much to Protect. That's great. Gain an amber, steal all but 6 of your opponent's amber. And, you know, with an Umbra, a Trust No One, a Ronnie, a Hugger Mugger in the deck, you know, we have 3 options out of hand, and 1 option if it sticks on the board to, you know, turn steal all but 6 into steal down to 5, which is very nice. On top of that, you know, if you are able to fight something and you have the Shattered Throne on the board, you're going to capture 1. So the chances of us keeping our opponents from forging on the turn we play Too Much to Protect are pretty good. Yeah, so that was that. I actually think this is pretty good. And again, I think the Brobnar, like, things it has going for it, the Warrior's Refrain definitely doesn't hurt the Brobnar, doesn't really hurt the Logos. It's a little sad for the Shadows. It works well with the other houses because of the Ganger Chieftains, and there's a bunch of creatures in the other houses that I wouldn't mind doing fighting with on my Brobnar turn. Has some like spot removal in all 3 houses. So I think this has a shot at being pretty decent. I'm happy with it. And usually with Brobnar, I'm looking for like Star Alliance or Saurian, but I actually think this works pretty decently. So that's it. That is Calvino, the Raider of Darkburg. I look forward to testing it out. I hope you enjoyed this and that you get out there and forge some keys.